All right, so I want to get this video out real quick. There's a lawnmower going off in the background, and I apologize, but I did want to get this video out kind of as quick as I possibly could, quick and dirty, as I like to do in general. So I want to start off by saying that I'm going to issue a minor correction to my last video. Some of the evidence that has come out does suggest much more strongly that Officer Derek Chauvin, whatever the hell his name is, I don't care. I don't even want to pronounce his name right. Piece of garbage that he is. Actually did intend, at the very least, to cause some serious injury to George Floyd. And I think that saying murder is well within bounds here. So I will correct that and say that saying that Officer Derek murdered George Floyd is actually accurate, especially now considering that it looks like they knew each other. They at least had some kind of relation because they worked together. Even if they're on opposite shifts, it just looks really suspicious. So there is that. I obviously I want to just update that. Secondarily, I want to talk about these protests, these riots, and the looting, and I want to talk about those as three separate things. I want to start off by saying anyone who doesn't support protest as a whole is an idiot and probably a bad person. These protests for George Floyd are legitimate and I would say even necessary for a lot of reasons. It will help with getting things back under control. It'll help with the grieving families, people who have suffered some attacks from police officers, whether they're legitimate or illegitimate. I'm not going to get into that necessarily, but there is, at the very least, bare minimum here, a perceived problem, and that perceived problem has to be addressed as soon as possible. These protests will get that problem addressed as soon as possible. Secondarily, I want to get into what rioting and looting is and what it means. CNN was going to have you believe that rioting and looting is a legitimate form of protest, and it might surprise some of you to hear me say they're not wrong. It is a legitimate form of protest. It is end stage protest. It is your last step before you actually go to war. When you destroy property, you are telling the government to come and get you, to try it, that you're ready and you're going to fight them. Going to use the Boston Tea Party as an example here. They destroyed property because they were upset about one thing, but it really was a lot more than just that one thing. It was just the straw that broke the camel's back. Much like George Floyd might be the straw that broke the camel's back. Now, if you're supporting the riots and the looting, and I'm not saying the protesting here, but if you're supporting the riots and the looting as well, then you're basically saying that there is no saving the government and that it should be destroyed. So, all of you who are doing this, who are saying this, I don't fucking want to see you ever come out against the Second Amendment again. End of story. Because you are now saying that it is time to end this current government in all its forms. It's not to say install anarchy, but you're basically saying that things are so bad that dismantling the system that we currently have is the only solution. And this is why a lot of conservatives are coming out against this, because by nature of being a conservative, you're kind of more for the continuation of status quo for the most part. Subtle changes, things like that, not massive, big leaps. And unironically here, the liberals are the exact opposite. That's kind of the whole point. That's what makes part of this country so beautiful, is that we can have this dichotomous situation and these people in this country still, up until maybe very recently, getting along. Secondarily, I do want to mention that not separating the protests from the rioting and the looting is a massive mistake. Even those who are protesting are condemning the riots and the looting, saying that it doesn't achieve anything at all. And I think they're right, at least for what their goals are. These people that are just protesting, they are saying that there is saving this country. This country is, in fact, fine for the most part. It's this police problem that we have that is a big problem, and it needs to be addressed. Great. You know what? Most people are going to agree with you. Most people that have had a police interaction are going to agree with you. I'm white. I've had a gun pointed at me. I've had my own gun pointed at me and almost died because the fucking officer had his finger on the trigger. So, whatever have you, a lot of people have experienced some bad police interactions, and a lot of people are going to agree that things could and should change. Lastly, I do want to mention something that I saw saying that Martin Luther King did peaceful protests and they killed him. That legitimizes these riots and these looting. And that's a dangerous precedent to set. If that's what you want to set, okay, but don't be upset when then other people play by those rules. Say, for example, a racist leader gets killed. Does that mean that these racists get to come out and riot and loot all over the streets? No, obviously not. First off, because they're racist, garbage people. Secondarily, because that's not how you commit to social change. Martin Luther King was and is a hero. He is a paragon, a high bar to set for successful protest. If you can sit here and tell me, look in my face and say nothing has changed over the last 60 years, I will smack you, because things have gotten much, much better, especially when you want to compare it to other countries that are still doing slavery for black people, that are still separating races completely. We are doing much better. Is it good enough? No. Can we do better? Yes. There's nothing wrong with saying that this country is doing great comparatively, but also condemning the fact that we haven't done better. So that's really what I wanted to say here, and actually just make those points, because I'm really tired of people missing their points. Anyway, guys, have a good day. Good luck. Stay safe. Have fun. I encourage y'all to go out and join some protests if you want, but please don't commit any crimes, like any crimes. Like, pay for your parking, don't jaywalk, don't commit a single crime. Anything. Otherwise, you risk delegitimizing the entire thing. Thank you, guys. End of video.